What's up, everybody? Graphic content episode 32.
32.
Romulus. Because we saw
Yeah.
Alien around. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But um, you talked about it a little bit earlier. Appreciate who that comics Boston Chris. Sorry, we're just happy. We're just talking to you guys. Have been already. We've been talking forever. But I'm more intrigued because it seems like you, Cliff. I can go down the name of list of people who had a great time at this convention that just passed. And the funny thing is, they had like 3 conventions that weekend. It was like they had Terrific Con. I think they had like Rose City. Did they have Rose City or something? They had like 3 conventions going on around the same time. They weren't small conventions. I think even one.
No,
I think one was the Fan Expo. So they were like 3 decent sized conventions.
I think
So
it Chicago Fan Expo or something like that. I forget. Like I know, like I didn't look at the other shows. I just know the one I was at. But yeah, there was a lot going on this weekend, and I think this weekend was also the Fanatic Fest
yeah, they
in
had
New
that
York,
going on too. Yeah, and that was
which
going
was
on in New York, which was huge. I heard a
yeah,
great success. And the
yeah,
funny thing about that fest, before we talk about yours, the Fanatic Fest, out of all the signings they had, because they had signings and stuff they were doing, there was only
hmm
one group that completely sold out that weekend. I don't know if you heard
yep.
about it.
Oh, I
It
did.
was
Yeah,
it was the wrestling. Anybody
that's right.
wrestling character, persona, whatever you want to say, they sold out for the weekend. Nobody else sold out, which was kind of interesting because they had some big names.
Oh,
It's
of
like
course. You know what?
know,
I'm curious. I'm curious if the reason for that is, was it because it was just more popular, or is it because the wrestlers were more affordable than other people? Because I mean, some of the names that are thrown out there. I mean, just for like, for football, it was like Peyton Manning was there, Tom Brady was there. Those autographs ain't gonna be cheap. You know that.
yeah,
So it's just like
that,
I can meet Dominic Mysterio for $150, or I can, meet Tom Brady for $500. It's just like,
and it probably
you know,
was less than that. It probably was like I can meet 5 wrestlers for the one price of beating this football
yeah,
player.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's just, I can do that. All right, perfect. And I mean, who knows too as far as like lines are concerned? Because I'm sure like the big names like Brady and all that like had huge lines. I mean, you could have. I mean, the amount of talent you could have met, that you could have met Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, wrestlers, Mike Tyson. You could have met Mike Tyson. Jalen Rose was there. Like there was so many different people
Derek
there.
Jeter. Derek Jeter was
Yeah.
there. Uh,
Was it soccer players? I think Messi was there.
Yeah, and I know because I know Jeter, where his little meet was like in a whole private room. It was like
Yeah.
because I saw one of the card guys. Like, it was like a whole nother separate room where he
Mhm.
was at, and the room looked like it was empty. Like I was like, I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
what is going on? Like, I mean, I'm not a big Yankee fan, but I would love to meet Jeter. You know what I mean? I'm just a sports
Mm.
fan in general. So like stuff like that. That's an event I would like to attend. I have to say that's an event I
Yeah,
would like to attend.
I think it would be a fun time, especially like I just would be. I think time wise, it would be very tough to figure out where you
Yeah,
want to go, just because it's like who's signing where, and then where do you have to be like logistically, like like what's closest to this and that. Because I mean, like when you think about it, it's just like, all right, if like the baseball people, players are on the whole other side of the convention from wrestlers or hockey players or whatever else you want to meet. Like that's a big deal because it's like, all right, this guy's signing for an hour over here right now, and then the guy that you want is signing at 2 o'clock. Well, it's already 11. Like let's say there's Derek Jeter signing from 11:30 to 12:30. All right, so if you get done with Jeter, you gotta like hustle on down over to the next person because they start at 2. It's like, oh wow, yeah, I gotta move and go across this whole place for it. I mean, if they're right next to each other, that's cool. But
yeah, and
um,
they had a lot of free stuff there
oh
because I
yeah,
think because it's the first, I guess, first fan thing.
yeah,
Um, and Fanatics is actually going to be taking over. I think a lot of licensing for cards. So
mhm,
it's they're investing a lot of money into it.
yeah.
Shout out Matt. What's up, Matt? Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.
I'm gonna be
He said I
honest with
find
you.
hockey players standoffish. I don't. Well,
I don't.
I,
I
I don't.
I don't disagree with you on that, just because hockey players, I think there's a lot of them that are like, good-hearted guys and everything like that, but a lot of them can be like, especially like the ones that used to fight and stuff, they got that little edge to them. So I could see that a little bit. But
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, that was a good fest though, man. I would lie.
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. If it's gonna be moving around. It's not gonna be like just in New York or whatever.
Oh,
I
all right, I
know.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. They have. I think they have the next couple years, like where it's gonna be. Uh, I think Vegas might have been one. I think Orlando. I'm not
Oh wow,
sure.
yeah.
I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing.
Hey,
But
Steppo,
yeah. What's up, Steppo? How you doing? But I'm
Vegas,
not even
huh?
like it's one that I would like. It's like almost like it's like a comic convention. I would love to attend because that is they have cars, but they also it's really collectibles because they had CGC was there, and they were
Yeah.
actually giving away free graded cards.
Oh wow. I
Yeah,
um I think that when it comes to that, I wonder if the people that went this first year are gonna get so it would be funny if you go a couple of different times, just because like sometimes when the first year or something, sometimes can be like the best of it just because it's not as strict. So it's like, oh, like I got to meet all these people, and it was all maybe the next year they have it like it's really strict, and it's like, all right, you can only do this, and because of the way that they handle the lines and everything, you were able to get less done. So that they could be that. But the fact that it moves around is kind of it's cool. I think on the one hand, just because it's nice to be able to not just for the people that go, like so if it's like if you're live in Vegas, but you're not gonna go ahead and move all the way out to New York to go see people, but then too also for the athletes, just because it's like, all right, so I couldn't attend this one because it was too far out and had other things going on, but now if it's in Vegas, you'll get a lot more West Coast people to come out and stuff that people that guys that couldn't travel, or you know just kind of nice to be able to say, hey, I don't have to go that far. um, so for Matt, I've actually met a lot of Bruins players over the years because I used to work at the Bruins Pro Shop a few years ago. So it was like I used to meet them. I met a lot of their wives and parents and stuff like that, and then also Celtics players during that time. And I have to say that hockey players are a mixed bag. They're kind of fun in that way of that, like you have just all these different personalities. So some of them are standoffish. Some of them are just complete like just clowns. Like they're just like all about having fun. And then but the thing that you can never really get over is just that like how just a lot of those guys are just really big dudes. Like wow, and then just seeing them in person too. It just kind of like hockey players. They're like more like regular guys. Like basketball players, you can tell right away because all of a sudden, the guys that tower in front of you. Oh my god!
yeah.
Hockey players usually not that bit tall, but like they're stocky and they're big, they're strong guys. It's like
Football
so.
players are not that tall, not that big either, especially if they were retired. If they were retired, they also are smaller. Like they'd be like, "Man, like, you look different." He said, "Yeah, I don't play anymore, and I lost 100 pounds,
Yeah,
and all I do is cardio now. Like they don't do the weightlifting. They don't have to eat the 10 meals a day if they're a lineman.
yeah,
Uh, so it's kind of it's funny for the football
yeah.
players
Charles
as
a nice guy.
well. So like you said, like basketball players, that the only thing that keeps them is like even if they retire, you're like, man, I met such and such. It's
Yeah,
like retire over you.
like I remember they were having they had the season ticket holders night, and we were doing we were just kind of doing the event because it was down in the pro shop, and Robert Parrish walked in, and I was like, because I mean I had never seen Robert Parrish before in person, and he's tall. He's tall, tall and skinny, but like he was just like just this tall man. And then I remember I was working one day just buttoning hats, like putting the security buttons on, and all of a sudden the light just went away, and I was just like looking down, and I looked up, and it was Al Jefferson. Al Jefferson's 6'10", and it's just like you don't really get a gauge of 6'10" until you're standing there. And, I mean, he cast a shadow. I was like, oh my god! And he's like, you only got my jersey. I was like, I'm sure we can find one for you. Like the guy was humongous. I was like, wow. I was like this is just one of those things where it's like he just makes you feel small. And it's just like he's a whole foot taller than me. That's insane. I can't deal with that. It's too much. So
Yeah. So I ain't gonna lie. It's probably I'm actually gonna try to look it up, but it'd be cool. To like something to attend. You know what I mean? Is this
yeah,
it's I don't know. I don't even know how to say it, but it's just something different. You know.
yeah, oh, definitely. It's just I think the toughest part too is like with that is how would you pace yourself? Like you'd really have to figure out a lot of logistics for it. So I think that I mean it's definitely something that especially if they have other wrestlers, just because I've been looking trying to see more like wrestling conventions, and they don't really have a lot that come up here. A lot of them end up being down in like the New Jersey and like Philadelphia area. That's where they have a lot of wrestling conventions. But I think that would be fun to go to, just to kind of meet, different wrestlers and stuff. And then, and I think they always have a show there too. So it's like, you meet the wrestlers and then, you see a wrestling show after. So that'd be
Oh
kind of
yeah,
fun.
do it, and they did the wrestling entrances. That was actually really cool. I've seen
Yeah.
some of the people do the entrances, so that also probably drove a lot of people to meet
Oh
wrestlers
yeah.
and stuff. It's like, yeah, we can meet some wrestlers after we do you do the entrance and kind of get you on it. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
find out where is the next Fanatics Fest. I see Orlando pop up when I type it in, so Orlando might be one of the dates, one of the places. I just don't know when. I tried to look up 2025, but nothing popped up as far as dates. But yeah, it's because when you click on, they got events for Fanatics Fest. The only New York is listed on their website. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they kind of like leaked a few places that I knew they were talking about. So, something to look to, especially if it goes like to like a Orlando or a Vegas. It's like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I can figure out that trip.
I mean, I'll say this much. I mean, as good as that was, I mean, I'm sure it was a great time for anybody who went. Terrificon was an absolute
Yes.
blast. Like
Oh, yeah.
it was
That was
so
about
fun.
terrific.
So Terrificon had so many people from the community there. I did not expect that many people to show up. I mean, there usually is a lot of people. So let me say that in a better way. So you always expect a good turnout for Terrificon. A lot of people from the community. Um, what happens? What happened this year was that there were so many new faces that were there, in addition to the people that usually normally go, that I was taken back. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, this is crazy. And so I met so many people this year at that show that I've never met before. That it was just so much fun. Like I get to meet the comic book kingpin. So Hyper Combo, Black Crown, Comic Aussie, what was it called? Rocksteady, Paperweight Collectibles. Who else is there? Newbie. I met Newbie in person. I met Cliff. Cliff was there in person. Just so many people. What's it called? Manimal. He recognized me. Like I was just walking up to the booth. He's like, "Hey, Chris." I was like, "Oh shit! All right, he knows who I am." Like, and there's like things where it's just like because I've always watched Manimal, whether it was on the Lords or back in the day with Gem Mint and everything. So I've always watched him. I didn't know he was aware of who I was, so that was pretty fun. So we had a great conversation, and just every time just meeting people. Was it what's it called? Ricky from All Sorts of Words. I said Ricky the model. I walked up to him and said it just because of the hunt. And then standing right next to him was Mon, and Mon's like, "Hey, Boston Chris, he's like, I wanted to meet you first." I was like, "Really, me?" Well, like I was like, so it was a great time. It was really, really great. And I have to say, this was the first convention that I went to that I didn't stay on site, and was actually kind of sad that I was because when I was leaving, I went 2 days, and then when I left for both days, I was kind of like, I know there's more stuff gonna happen. I know there's gonna be more people hanging out, and I'm just missing it, and it's just like I regret it. So it's just like the next Terrificon show I do, whether it be next year or the year after, I don't know. We'll have to see. Just 'cause I'm doing Heroes. I'm going to stay down there because it's just like I just want to be able to hang out with people and have more time. Because who else I met that I haven't like guy who I met, we've known him for years and just never actually met him in person. Maki 316 was down there.
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, I mean, like Maki came out to do it. That was just like wow.
I
And
can just hear his voice yelling, "Chris!"
he was just walking around. He was just he was just man, it was
Boston.
crazy. Yeah, he was just like, and he was out getting autographs and everything else, and it was just like and the big people that were at the show was I mean there's always a huge lineup, but the main headliners that they had, like the two biggest, I think, was Scotty Young and Jim Lee. And a lot of people were saying, like, did Jim Lee do this or not? Was this like the crowd's like for him? I was like, I don't know, because I've been to a con with Jim Lee before, and it wasn't like this. Like, it was just this popular, and it's such a good time. And Saturday the show was so crazy. They were sold out. So normally there's a hallway that like there's a doorway that goes directly into the con. And there's this hallway that those funnel people off to be in line. That hallway normally you get to about the elevators and that's it. This line was so out of control that it went outside and down the street to the parking lot. So as you're pulling into the parking lot, there's people. I mean, a line, like literally, like a line of people just waiting. And every time that line moved, there would be 20 people would go in, and then all of a sudden, 20 people would replace them. And they ended up hitting capacity. I want to say 2 hours after the show started, they were just like, all right, we can't sell any more tickets right now. We're at capacity. Capacity for that venue is 40,000 people. Like it was out of control, but it was fun. It was very, very fun.
Yeah,
So
that's an experience and a half.
yeah.
The experience that I have is just.
I only got to experience about half of it just because I would come home at night. So it was
You
just
know,
like,
one thing about these conventions like that, you talk about Terrific Con, Heroes Con. Oh man, look JS. He puts a nice little comment. Priceless, fun story, accent included. We'll give you a little video. JSS. So yeah, that was. Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's but those stories like that make you want to go to different conventions when you hear good stories like that. Every now and then you might have bad experiences people have, but when you hear good stories, makes you want to go to those conventions. Yes, JSS. So I do. It's good to have those priceless, fun stories. One thing I would love to see at these conventions. This is one thing I would love to see at these conventions. I see it at the card conventions. You see it at the Fanatics Fest. You see it at the National for the card show. So, you got Terrific Con, you got Heroes Con. I would love to see it these conventions, and it can happen because a lot of people travel, a lot of people stay, and we can get in the lobby and do it. We'd be like, hey, the hotel is just let us use a ballroom that nobody's using. A trade night. Like to me, one of those days, probably either Friday or Saturday, should be a trade night at those conventions. I think it'd be pretty fun to have a trade night like they have at the card shows.
I mean, you could probably do it. I mean, honestly, the like Mohegan's big enough that like I mean, I don't know if they'd probably they would probably charge some money to do that or anything like that. But the thing is though, if you, I would say it'd be hard to do like in a bar or a restaurant setting. But I mean, there could be definitely something like that, especially if you get enough people that go the day before. Like that wouldn't be bad, just because it's like all right. But I mean,
I've seen them at the lobbies of like hotel, like whoever has the biggest lobby. I've seen them like because some lobbies are huge, and I've seen people like all right, and then it's all of a sudden like people trading stuff and having a good time, and I'm like.
I'm trying to think now because now that you bring that up, this is like I know that Otto definitely is friendly. I mean, he has the guy who runs Terrificon on his show when he does the daily preview and all that type of stuff. His name is Mitch. So I mean, I bet you if I floated that to Otto, or at least said, hey, what about this? Would you ever think about doing like? And he
And
floated
then
out the name.
they can limit it. They can make it not be like that Saturday. They can be like
Oh
only
yeah,
X amount of tickets. You know, people who get in.
yeah,
Like I don't know if I'd
that
probably
would be
say
cool.
less than 500. You know what I mean? Less than
Yeah,
500 people. And
yeah.
that'd actually be pretty cool. Like in my opinion, something different. Who says he can get the gang to his grab a private room? Well, that too. That's actually you can actually get a suite at a hotel. You get like a suite at a hotel, which is basically like 2 rooms,
Yeah,
and you can do it. But you'd have to be even less people than I'm thinking about. At like he was like Chris was talking like maybe like have it for like 2 hours at whatever the venue's at. Like, all right, 2 hours after the venue's closed. All right, if it closes at 7, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, that's the trade time. It doesn't go a minute over. It doesn't start a minute earlier. It's 9 to
yeah,
11, and only like 200 people can get in. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you don't have to because you have to have security, but to me
yeah,
the least amount of people is not as bad.
yeah,
So that would be actually a cool, and then you could test it out. Like that'd be like a test, a feeler,
yeah. Absolutely.
and then if it's very successful, I think it'll could work out, and then that's when you get ballrooms at hotels. You'd be like, hey,
Yeah,
especially at those times, uh, sometimes the hotels don't use all of the ballrooms because they're at an event going on. So like they might have a
yeah,
ballroom that nobody's using because they got an event going on. So nobody else is using the ballroom because
yeah.
oh man, why would I have an event going on in this ballroom when they got 10,000 comic book people? you know?
Well, just to give you an idea of something they did do, just because I mean, Keanu Reeves showed up kind of semi-announced, I'll say, on on Friday. Like he was just like he was there, with his band or whatever, and he was like, I want to sign some autographs or whatever. I want to help out the guy who so the guy who did Berserk, he wanted to help him out. And by having some people come in and do autographs and all the rest of this type of stuff, and so like that kind of was announced like I think like 2 or 3 days before the show, and so people came down and did it. Like, they kind of had him off in this area to the side before
I
the
think it
show.
was even less than that because I think it was like a day before the show got announced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 1 or 2 days because I know that, and I know that like it was limited to 100 people, and people got to go meet him and everything. Actually,
Oh yeah, they
Ricky
got to meet him and take pictures. Cause I think like a lot of pictures.
Guy Ford, what's up, man?
What's up, Guy
But
Ford?
we missed
Haven't
Guy
seen
there.
him.
Like
Haven't seen him in
guy
a
was
minute.
not he was not the Terrificon. He wasn't able to make it, but like, man, it was just a
I
blast. So
saw I saw Butcher was at a
yeah, Butcher
was he
was
at
there.
Terrific because he was doing eBay Live.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they were doing it all. Like it was like him, Erod, Very Gary. They were all doing the eBay Live, and then Nerdy Girl was doing her deal. Like it was a lot of people that was just hanging out and just having a good time. And I will say, like, if I was to, I guess, give, I guess, kind of an experience of it, or like at least what I take back from it is like, if you can remember your favorite like concert that you've ever been to. This is some type of big favorite event that just kind of sticks with you, type thing. Where it's just like like I remember where I was, I remember all the people I met, and it's just like this was just such a fun thing that after it was done, you almost were like I really wish that this didn't end just because it was just that fun. That's really where it comes from. So that's why I say I really do. It made me really excited for Heroes to see what it's gonna be like. But I mean, the bar is way up here, so it's just like I'm hoping that it's the same or better. But I'm gonna say like I am excited that Terrificon was as good as it was, and going forward, it's definitely one where it's just like I know when I go, I'm staying over, for the whole event just because I want to be able to hang out and just have fun. Just because hanging out in the show is one thing, but like where everybody else got to have that extra fun was just hanging out together.
Yeah, it's like
Just being
going
just
to restaurants and
yeah,
stuff
going
like
to
that.
restaurants, chilling, everything. Just everybody having a good time. Was what I missed on at the end. So it's like that seems to be like really what it was, and it was like everybody
and
was
that's
excited.
like when you and after conventions or out of conventions, when you're hanging out with people at different stuff, maybe it could be a bar, it could be a restaurant, it could be whatever.
Hmm.
To me, you can get more personable with people.
Yeah,
You can actually talk. You can actually talk because you had a
yeah.
convention.
Everybody loosens
You
up.
use it.
Everyone's
Everybody's on a mission when they're at a convention. So it's
exactly.
like
Almost,
you're like
you know,
hey, and then you're like going to somewhere like me in Dallas. That's how I'm at that. That's how I'm usually at Dallas because I want to
yeah.
get these signatures. So I'm like,
Oh,
people was
exactly.
in Friday. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I'm going.
Yeah, like it's like you have that time, I would say in the line, like waiting to get in. It's like all right, everybody's shooting, talking, whatever, just kind of hanging out, and then you get inside and everybody kind of just goes in their own direction, and then you like kind of all come back together later on, and then just like all right, like and not even just say like, oh, show me what you got, whatever, just kind of hang back and like what, this is it. Actually, you know what it reminded me of. On a way bigger scale was King Con a couple years ago. So because I was there with Guy and all these other guys and everything, and it was just like we all were just kind of hanging out, and it was just that good of a vibe where it was everybody was just cool and everybody just having a great time. And Guy remembers. Guy said that we were sitting there. The restaurant wasn't ready for us. It was funny, but it was like they weren't ready for us. So Guy's like, you know what? I got some meatballs. My mother made these meatballs. Let me go ahead and bring them in. So he gave us all meatballs, and they were phenomenal. Oh my God, they were phenomenal. But it was just like one of those things where it's just like that weekend was just so fun, and this was just up there with that. Like it was a great experience, and I would recommend to anybody that can make it. Definitely go down, check it out. And if you can do it for all 3 days, make sure you stay over, just because I swear that's where all the extra fun is. Like getting to know everybody, having that fun. Like it was just such a good time.
So JSS had a question. Did you find anything cool or unique and pick it
Oh,
up or just see? Or just see. So you don't have to you can well you can answer it two different ways, but
yeah.
or just
Uh,
see. That one probably could be pretty easy. Something you saw that you was like, oh man, that's pretty cool.
I mean, there was. I mean, people
Or people, you could be like, oh
yeah,
man, just to see certain people, you're like, oh crap.
yeah. I mean, well, I mean, just so. I mean, before we were in the show, we were just walking around and just running into people, and just like so many people that I didn't expect to see were there. Like Nola Comics. I was just like, I had known that he was there. I seen him. I know what he looks like, and he like walked up. I'm like, guy looks way too familiar. I was like, there's no way this guy, because I mean, from when we talked, he was like, driving his van out in like the West Coast, so there's no way he drove all the way out, and it was him. He's like, Chris, what's going on? I was like, oh, no way. Like, Nola Comics is here. So that was pretty cool. Cliff was amazing to see. Like Cliff was just sitting there, and he was doing a live thing and he's on his phone, so he's kind of looking at that. And I was like, yo, Cliff, and he's like, oh, Chris, what's up? And it was just like, like if you look in there and you go and you just watch the show or watch everybody's stuff, like it's so funny because like Cliff is all over the place. Like Cliff was having a great time at that show, and he's just an amazing guy. Really fun. I
Did
I actually could say that I had just such a fun time, and I was given something international actually by the Canadians. So they were just like, hey man, you ever have any of this stuff? So this is part of my haul, and I know people have been like, what, really? Like, yeah, they gave me this Canadian.
Matt's gonna be like, oh, that you're excited about that? Watch.
No. It's crazy because it's just like funny because it's like they were just like, hey, you got these? I was like, get what? He's like, oh, we got ketchup chips. I was like, ketchup chips. All right. But they had a whole thing of them. And they were just like, oh, we got these ketchup, you got the ketchup chips. So these are Canadian. And you see the little, this is the little maple leaf. So Canadian chips they brought down. And then they had, so that wasn't the only one. So then they had these other ones called Old Dutch Ridgies. So we got these Old Dutch Ridgies. This is from up north. And then they had this other one that was pretty crazy. And I like this one because it's in French, all dressed. And it says, I can't even say that, accessoires or whatever. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I got these things, out of nowhere. And then, as far as like books and stuff, there was some great deals to be had. I have to say, the going down at the con, you could see just about any book you wanted. I mean, really, like there was a lot of golden age. There was a lot of just big keys everywhere. Like everybody had good stuff. There was some obscure stuff that was there. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rhea Hunter. He was there, and that guy, I don't know where he finds some stuff, but he has some books that were just like, wow, I've never seen these before. Like this is awesome. Like so, he had some great stuff there. And I, got some pretty good stuff from what I was doing. And I can show you like my so every year, or I usually get my con exclusive. And so my con exclusive is usually different than what other people would think. So I didn't buy like the hot book or nothing like that, or the one and whatever variant. But I did manage to add another book to my list here. So we have another sketch from Ken Wheaton, a Simpsonized Vulture. So my Sinister Six now has 4. I need 2 more. I need Mysterio and I need Doc Ock. So, but yeah, that right there is one of the cool things I picked up. So really excited for that. If you ever see Ken Wheaton at a show, like he does really good art, and he's very affordable as far as sketches are concerned. So yeah, definitely get yourself a sketch from Ken Wheaton. He does great work. So
They have some other questions. This Matt, he said, "What's your biggest annual convention?" My biggest annual convention has been Dallas Fan Expo. That's been my biggest annual one. New Orleans is like a local, so I don't count that one. And then Friday, so I can do a lot of stuff on Fridays at that convention. But Dallas is my biggest one because it like I literally have to I have to come there a day before to prepare, and then I have to leave a day later just because I need an extra day off to recover. So it's real big convention Dallas is, and they get a lot of big artists
they do.
The 2 years ago was Art Germ and his crew. So it was Art Germ, Derek Chu, all of those guys, and Huck Lee. Which Steppo, if he's here, he would have loved to meet in Huck Lee if he had met him. So they had like those guys there. This year, the kind of artists that you don't see a lot was Perillo and his wife Carla Cohen. Those were like because those are Italian people like Carla Cohen and Perillo. They don't go a lot of different places. And I was able to meet Art Adams, but I've met him before. But it was like Art Adams, Jeff Loeb. I had what's her name? I can't even think now. My daughter met her. It's gonna come to me. K-pop probably answer for me. John Ball Myers. I've never met him. He was very nice. David Nakayama. So it was like a big group of different. Greg Land, I met him again. Greg Land, super nice. So it was nice to meet those people, and then the artist lineup I found out the last 2 years has been great at Dallas. It's one of those, So
that's the antithesis of Boston Fan Expo. Boston Fan Expo, and I heard from Black Crown and them that their fan expo suffers like mine does, where they just kind of like it's more pop culture, pop culture than artists and stuff. So they like you don't get as much good artists coming in, and that is a shame because it's like they have such good space, and I mean a lot of people want to come out, and you don't really get as many great people like the Boston Fan Expo this year really turned me off, and that usually was that's like a local one that I'll usually go to because of the fact that it's just right there and I can just go, and it's just an easy one like that. Like I went, I always get a 3-day pass. I went Friday, and it just was so just underwhelmed by what they had going on, that I commissioned a couple sketches, went back on Saturday, got my sketches, and then went home. I was like, you know what? So I was able to go ahead and just take care of that and be ready for that to end and just be done. But I will say that this is something that I finally did. Another cool thing from the show. So I met John Jang. He exists. He's a real person. I was shocked because of the fact that every year people are like, oh, John Jang this and John Jang that, and I'm like, no, no, no,
He's
no. The
always
man,
at Dallas. I can tell you that.
that's the thing. Like he's been at. I walked up to him. I was like 3 years. I've been looking for you, motherfucker. I was like 3 years. I've come looking for you, and I can never find you. And I've had people that go to the show like, oh, I got this time. I'm like, no, you didn't, because he doesn't exist. And he was there. He was there this time. And I found him. I was like, you. I was like, I was like, I've been looking for you. And he's like, really? He's like, and the best part was that he said, you're not the only one that says that. Like nobody can find me for some reason. So I can only imagine how much money he loses by people not finding him. But he exists. I know. I took a picture with him. So I found him.
Oh god. Oh god.
So,
I gotta answer Guy's question. Next year, guy, Chris might not even go to TerrorCon. Next year is Heroes Con for a lot of us. Myself, Chris. I know Big Lion Cat, Bleeker's. Bleeker's coming. He hadn't.
He was going.
Callie's probably gonna come. K-pop's gonna. She's gonna try to make it. She's gonna try to get her schedule. She can't confirm yet, but it's gonna be a lot of people at Heroes, and that's where we're going. My wife and daughter are actually going with there, so
yeah,
they're gonna be there. But because they always kind of go with me, so if I did go there, if I did go to Terrificon, they would come, and that would be cool with them. They could go. They go to a spa, whatever. But that would be. But that's more of a 2026 maybe at the earliest for me, because I am all booked up next year for conventions and hotels are already booked. I even got a hotel for New Orleans. That's just because I don't want to go back home. I can just walk to the hotel.
Yeah, I got my hotel's booked for Heroes. I'm gonna book the flight. Probably, I will probably.
As soon as it opens up, I'm gonna book the flight. As soon as it opens up.
Well, there are flights that are open, but I feel like booking right now is like too far in advance. Like I don't want to do that. So
I'm doing Southwest, so that's why I gotta wait.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up waiting until probably after Christmas to book that. But I would say that if like hopefully I'm trying to budget to be able to do both next year. So to be able to afford to stay at Mohegan. And then, because it's just like, like I really think that if for nothing else, because this show, what I will say is that like I had the show a week before that I went to, and I didn't spend much at all. Like I pretty much did good budgeting there, and then I went ahead and budgeted for this one too. So I was able to get pretty decent amount of books on a budget. Not too expensive, and so. For me, it's just like, hunting and digging books. Yeah, absolutely. But it's more just kind of hanging out and having some fun too. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. If I go back to Terrificon next year, I'm hoping to. So I'm going to do my best to, have a great time down in Charlotte, but also, make sure that I have some money to go with, because there's too much after. Yeah. So, something where I can just kind of, I don't have back into, Terrificon.
It's basically, New Orleans Fan Expo is like 5 months from now, less than 5 months, but I'll probably I'd spend some money there, especially since it's local and whatever. But Dallas, I'm gonna go to Dallas mainly to go hang out with the family at the water park at the hotel. I'm gonna go, and whoever else is gonna be out there, I'm gonna get so I'm gonna go, but I'm not going to spend any money. So it's kind of
Dallas is what that's May or April?
No, it's like 2 weeks before Heroes, I think.
Oh God, yeah, no.
I think because Dallas. Well, matter of fact, Dallas is this year is gonna it's like the end of May. It's like May 30th, I think, until like June 2nd or something. But Heroes is like 3 weeks later. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's like 3 weeks. So I got a little buffer. But I'm still not going to spend any money at Dallas. Tell you that straight up. I'm going there just really because we get the hotel for like like $20-$30. Like it's really cheap. You're literally going to spend like $200 for the whole weekend for the
Yeah.
hotel, and it has a water park, like a legit water park, at the hotel, and it's almost like a family. Look at me like a family almost staycation, but we're not staying in it. We're actually going to
Mhm.
Dallas, but
Yeah.
uh, that's how that's going to be. But I'm not going to spend any money. I'm not even planning on bringing any books. And if I did, it'd probably be one of those instances where I get stuff signed and I'll send it off later. Especially if they do,
So
certain people do free signatures that I've lucked up to got, like Perillo was free for a few, Carla Cohen was free, Greg Land was free for a couple of books. David Akiyama was free for the exclusive at the convention, so you could have bought the exclusive, got a free signature. Um, but he was $5 for a signature if you weren't grading it. So it's like
yeah.
I know how to do it if I did get stuff signed, but the plan is not to really do much, especially not get anything graded. I can guarantee you
Yeah.
that. I'll be getting zero graded at Dallas, but it is a possibility of getting stuff signed
Yeah.
and buying a couple of exclusives because I hate to, I did well selling the exclusives um, there.
I
So that's my plan. I gotta tuck in my daughter. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So the guy at Heroes, or the Heroes group, was at Terrificon, and they said, because K-pop was saying that she needs to figure out Heroes. They said, I think in November, that they're going to be dropping the block of rooms. So if you haven't booked yet, which is fine, they're supposed to be doing their discounted rate at that point. I'm not gonna cancel my reservation and try to book again. Like, I'm locked in, so I'm good. So that's what I'm gonna make sure to do. And then but if you're looking to go, like November when they announce it, just book the hotel and then figure out everything else from there. Just because it's down in Charlotte. Heroes is down in Charlotte. Um, but the way I see it is that, like, but from the time that they announce it till the actual show, you got what, like around 7 months or so. That's plenty of time to set up a plane and I guess get together whatever budget you're trying to do, and just kind of figure out what's going on. But I know that you know I was looking forward to, just because it's actual, like, comic convention. Like, it's more comics than everything else, and the lineup every year that I haven't gone, that I've seen, has just been such a, just, I mean, huge list of just great talent every single year, that like, I've been jealous every time. I'm like, oh my god, this person got all these different things, and then seeing people bringing their hauls back. I mean, people would just come back with so much good stuff. So it's definitely a good place to go. And I think the other convention that I've heard similar to that, Charlotte. No iron. There's no iron Charlotte at all. It's just CHAHL. No, actually CHAHLIT Charlotte. No, the halls that people bring back is crazy. And the other show that I've heard is good like that, collectible wise, is Baltimore. I've heard good things about Baltimore, and that's usually comic dealers saying, like, if you want to go out and try to get books, like if you're looking for an actual comic centric show, Baltimore is good like that too. So eventually I'll head down there. But I will say that Terrificon is my big that's the big show that I go to every single year. So for me, going to Heroes next year is just me kind of expanding out a little bit and just seeing what other stuff is out there. So that'll be if it's a really good experience, I may head back every few years maybe. But this is just what I wanted to experience, just to say that I've been. So
Yeah. Splash. Hello, Splash. Hello.
yeah, Splash should go to Heroes Con, but he doesn't go to cons really anymore, except for the one down in Oklahoma.
He's been to Dallas. He's been to Dallas. It wasn't last year, but
like
2 years
Dallas,
ago. It was 2 years ago.
he goes to Dallas because he just kind of if he has the time, all right, I'll stop in there, cool. But the one he actually makes it a point to go to is the one that's in Oklahoma. I think he calls it the Oath Con. He goes to that one, and I guess it's a very good spot to pick up Golden Age books.
You want to hear a funny story? I don't know if I told you this. Splash thought Yahweh was Tony.
Wow.
I was like, that's not Tony. That was Yahweh. He was like, what? I said, yeah. I said, Tony's at. I don't even know where Tony was at that time.
All
I
right,
think Tony might have left.
That's crazy on so many levels because Yahweh's short. I mean, I've never met Yahweh in person, but Yahweh's short. Tony's tall.
Yeah, Tony's tall.
Yahweh
He's like, right,
is
yeah.
bald, and Tony has hair. It's just like so that I think the only thing that they have in common outside of skin color and stuff is just they both have mustache. That's about it. But that's funny though. But Splash, Splash, yeah, no, Splash. I think was just excited to meet people. He was just like, oh, hey, this. But
that was a good convention. I'm not gonna lie. That was a good convention. But yeah, it sounded like Terrific Con. It was a good con. It even sounds like because we heard about Heroes. Whenever it like a little, what that was a month ago. No, yeah, about that. So it's a lot of good conventions. It's I could see doing more of these as time goes on, or different ones.
Yeah. No, they're definitely like I would say the way that people talked about Heroes is the way they're talking about Terrificon this year. Like everybody just had a really good time. So it makes me happy that they had such a good time there, just because it's good to see people kind of coming back and just that community interaction, just because there's a lot of I mean it's cool to have people come down. I want to see this one and go. Because I'm doing the same thing with Heroes, where it's like I'm just going once just to experience it, and then maybe come back, maybe not. But I'm hoping that people want to it's the type of show that people want to keep coming back to. But it was just a really fun time, and I think that is more than whatever books you pick up. That I think is like the most. The most important thing is just the amount of fun that you have while you're there, and being able to just see and interact with people, and just everybody kind of getting together and just enjoying the community, because that's really what makes this thing work, is that we all kind of come together, have fun, and can be able to continue that on and share that with other people. So that's really where everything kind of comes together. It's not just you're wandering lonely throughout some big auditorium, like looking at books and then just kind of going home and be like, yeah, all right, well, that was that. Because that's the feeling I get with with some of the local shows, where it's like if I don't see anybody, then it's just like, all right, well, it's like going to a giant comic shop by yourself and just like, all right, well, here I am, I'm picking all these books up, and see you later. So
speaking of Heroes Con, somebody did share. I Heroes with Terrific Con. Somebody did share this.
Yep,
so that's somebody I follow on Instagram that shared that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like they were, they're actually doing the podcast tonight, just talking with people that were there and everything, and just kind of going over that. But yesterday, Black Crown and them went over their stuff and talked about everything that they experienced and the fun that they had. But I mean, it's just it was such a good time, and I think that really it's just one of those things where it's just like you got a whole year to wait to go to the next one. So it's just like, all right, well, what's the next thing that's happened? Is there anything else to top that for the rest of the year? For me, I'm not going to any of the shows this year, so I'm kind of I shut it down so I could go ahead and really make the
Heroes
to have the best possible time.
That's basically what I did, yeah. Because a lot of people, I forgot who told me, he's like, that's lies. Who that you didn't? Yeah, that's not your last purchase of 2024, and technically it was the video I did yesterday, but I do have other stuff that I purchased, but I'm doing payment plans on, like 3 different items. So yeah, I got 3 different items still to come in, but those were purchased from like a month ago. This last one I just got was literally last week. So. But I paid it off first. Yeah, so
I can also say for me, I mean, there probably will be a couple pickups here and there that I'll get, but for the most part, it might be like smaller stuff. But I really do want to commit to trying to make sure that just having a good, just because I figure if I'm doing all this, if I'm traveling this far and staying over and doing all this, like, it doesn't really, it's not for me going to be as good of an impact to be like, oh, well, I bought a bunch of like, books from $1 to $3, and this is my stack of, just books that I could have, went to a shop and got. I really want to come back with something, not like I'm not going to break the bank full out, but I want to come back with some really good stuff and be able to hunt, and just, experience the show and not have to sit there and be like, all right, well, how much do I have? And, so that for me is really where my focus is right now. So I do have other things that I'll pick up that'll be like, small things here and there. But as far as any kind of big purchases, I've kind of just relaxed on that. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to any of the shows, and there are other shows. The Rhode Island Comic Con is trying to entice me by telling me that Ric Flair is going to be there, and I'm like, oh, okay, trying to get me to go down there and see Ric Flair. And then there was a wrestling show that's coming up in a couple months, and Sting's going to be there, and I'm like, oh, okay. And
they're really trying to get you.
They're trying hard. They're like, Sting's going to be there, and I'm like, oh, okay. So now you get Sting coming. Oh, okay. They're just sit there and try to dangle Sting in front of me and make me spend money. But like,
I can understand spending money on Ric Flair. I hate to say it, the man. Man's up there. He's been through a lot, and you never know. That's why like I can understand, even though I'm not I like Star Trek, but I like the Jean-Luc Picard version. That's why I understand Dan trying to go see Captain Kirk. I can understand it. The man's 90-something years old.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I like, so I've come the closest I'm came the closest this weekend to being able to get my revenge with that stupid ass book. Oh, I sat there, and if the price was right, I was gonna buy it, but it was expensive. He's like, yeah, it's about this. I was like, this is like, you son of a bitch. I was like, if it was cheaper, I was like, if you had said a different number, I would have bought that book and blew my nose with it live on friggin' The Hunt. I was like, that's not trick number one over there. He's like, yep. I was like, he's like, yep. It's just about. He said it was like it was Rob. He said it was probably around a 6.0, and I was like, oh wow. And because for me, it's not so much, being able to sit there and just be like, oh no, that's such a great book. I just want to rip and watch people like, no, like, oh yes, fuck William Shatner. With all the love in the world, I say that. But no, I was mad. I was just like, oh, like at that time I was just like, you know what, William Shatner. But I mean, to be honest with you, I was actually surprised at how expensive of a book that is. I didn't think that people were like, really like. You figure it's Adele, it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, no, people really do value that Star Trek #1.
Yeah. So one thing I want to transition to, because it's getting a little late, but we don't have to go in. Honestly, if we went into full details, I wouldn't give anything away about this movie. But Alien Romulus, if I said the name correctly.
Yep, that's right.
Isn't it the title's named of the ship they discover, right?
Yeah, and it's basically also based on the myth of Romulus and Remus, the two people that founded Rome that was saved by.
Because part of the ship is like divided, and it's like certain, So I wish they would have went more in depth with that, but you only can do so much. Because they kind of talked about it, but it didn't go more into it. The thing I found out about the movie, and I like, and I hope this continues the growth of more Aliens movies, is that this is basically its own story. It's in between, I think, the first Aliens and the second Aliens. So it's kind of cool to have their own storyline. They're not tied to anything. The only thing they're tied to is the actual aliens, xenomorphs that they call them.
Yep.
So that's the only thing that's kind of tied to. No characters are like, oh, this character was in this. You guys say, oh, this is a daughter of this character, a brother of this. And they didn't
Yeah,
do they didn't do anything. So I like that aspect, and that kind of should show it shows that we can get more of this, which I think we are. When we're getting a TV show, I think Alien Earth. I think it's called Alien Earth. And it's supposed to be the first timeline, so it's supposed to be like the first interaction with them. So I don't know how they're going to do that because if they land on Earth and we start leaving Earth and doing things, we should know about these. So it's that they got to explain that part. But
yeah. I
but
didn't, I didn't know that it was between the first two. Like, I had no idea. Like I didn't hear anything about that. I also
yeah,
haven't,
well,
like,
I've been seeing it. I think they posted the timeline, if I'm not mistaken.
okay. No, yeah, because I didn't research anything outside of the actual movie itself. I just watched it and I liked it. But I've also heard I've heard that it's gotten a lot of, I guess, criticism. People like, oh, I wasn't really a fan of this, and, da, da. And I was just like, I didn't see anything wrong with it. What intrigued me the most when I watched the trailer was that it just seemed like it was a throwback to the old school horror
Mhm.
about it. And so I was like, oh, like that's cool. And the thing that I liked with it was that really um, there were no actors, like big name actors that I knew of. Like everybody who I had seen in the that I was all people that were just pretty much new faces, except for the later on where it's like, okay, I know who that person is because I've seen the first one. But and I want to say that it contained kind of elements of every. It contained elements definitely of the first three movies. Um,
Mhm.
oh no, sorry. I think
Yeah. It did like first three movies. Yeah.
yeah, first three movies definitely the first. I think the fourth one too. Resurrection, I think is that one. So
Yeah,
it
because kind of
contained,
like the towards the end. Yeah.
yeah, and but it was good. Like it had a good horror vibe to it. It was you know, I think they did a great job with just kind
There
of
you go.
okay, cool. So
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
Rom,
because I think they say the year of Alien Ramen, so that's why people were able to put it in between.
yeah,
Because they said the year, and we know the years of the first Alien, the second, and the third. We know all those,
yeah.
so that's how it fit in between. Which made
So
sense.
yeah, and so the thing that I liked about it too was like it had a good it had good classic horror element to it, where it's like like if you watch like almost like kind of like the slasher movies like Jason and Freddy and
Mhm.
stuff like that. For the most part, like the group dynamic is usually the same, whereas like you have one person that's kind of stoic, one person that's kind of just kind of the two people that are kind of like love interest in there. But they're kind of good, kind-hearted people, no problems. Then you have that one really obnoxious asshole who was just like, wow, like this guy's
From the
gonna,
jump, from the jump.
yeah. It's just like but the thing that they do in those movies is that like they tend to like give them like a little redemption where it's like, oh man, it's like, all right, well, they were a jerk in the beginning, but now they're cool. And then you also have, unfortunately, in that group, the person that doesn't deserve to get it, but is gonna get it. It's like, oh man, they didn't have to do that to that person. Um, but so that part I thought was cool. I was like, all right, this works, and they just they really did, I think, a good job with it, and I think that
And the only thing I think didn't they make maybe I'm forgetting. That's why I end up starting to watch the second Aliens again. But I felt that they made the acid blood more powerful than I remember it. I don't remember eating through the manifolds of the ships. Um,
yeah, they never did that. Like, I mean,
I
that
mean,
never really.
and I was hard for me to believe that because I know it's a movie. You think this deep into it, you shouldn't. But manifolds on spaceships currently, we can, they heat up to thousands of degrees, like when
Yeah,
they come back in the earth. So it's like, and we're talking about way in the future where the ship's like more advanced. So the ship integrity should be stronger. So it's kind of like man,
yeah,
like you can't do any experiments on this ship because if you drop something that eats through it, it's over with.
Well, and JSS is 100% right. That saw it at matinee, was good. Interesting what to look, but definitely matinee price. I'll wait for it. Yes, definitely. Like if I would. That's not a movie I would have gone seen opening weekend. Seeing it. Like
And
if you ever
I
get
actually
to
saw it
on a
opening weekend, but I saw it matinee time. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just last Sunday.
but yeah, but I agree. It's almost it's not just that it's cool on the big screen. It's really worth it on the big screen.
Yeah.
It won't have the same feeling on TV. I don't care what unless you have a few $1,000,000 to have a real movie theater in your house.
Hmm.
But watching it in theaters, I wouldn't have felt the same or thought about it as the same watching it on TV. Just my thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt about that part on it. Um,
Yeah. I
and
think.
they did de-age the technology a little bit because since it fit in between Alien and Aliens because of the timeline, the year, it made sense because he's like, oh man, like all right, it kind of like old technology they look like they had,
Yeah.
but they're in the future. But it's like, oh, but they're not too far after the first Aliens timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that part.
I think too.
I
I'm
don't
never
know where that
getting
came.
away from it. I mean,
I
you could just not. Thank you for watching, Papa. I mean, I'm
Thank
on
you
the
for
show. What do you think? It was just like, But no, the other thing when you mentioned about the acid, the only thing what I would say is it kind of gives it a good excuse for being, what it was is that like outside of the first mission, like they really didn't know much about what was going on. So you could say that where it's like, oh, this is you know this is this asset that like it goes through, like holy shit, it can take ships down and stuff. And then so after knowing that, they started building things that could withstand that. Just because, in the second movie, I mean, they have the Marines or whatever were basically hunting them. So it's like they knew what they were, they knew how to fight them, or they knew what they were and how they could fight them, in groups that without being overwhelmed at the time. So it was just like I think they kind of learned a little bit from
I'll be right back.
what was the yeah. I think they learned a little bit from those from the first movie or whatever. But uh, you know, the thing that's funny is that every every movie that they have, aliens proper for the most part, um, the company is always evil. It doesn't matter. And in this one, the company also had kind of a really really just stubborn and nasty agenda in the very beginning, which was kind of cool. It's like 'cause you see them as like, oh, okay, like this is what they're doing for. I mean, this is just how they kind of operate. Like they're just a nasty company to begin with. So I like that they don't they don't try to make the Wayland company like super nice and great. Like it's like no, the Wayland company, even if they were started out on noble causes, they definitely lose their way and they become more and more greedy as time goes on. So that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think. Sicko, what's up, man? Um, I think that if they're gonna do more self-contained stories, that would be kind of fun. I think that that's something that they can explore really easily, and if you use more unknown actors, it works out better just because of the fact that I mean, Alien at its core is basically like sci-fi horror. So if you use a bunch of people that aren't like just big names all the time, you can easily cycle through them, and those who have to go, but then other people can kind of make their way from that and just say, oh, I remember seeing you in this movie. So I think that would be kind of cool. Where it's just like you can kill these people off with no problem in the movie, and then make the hero into a bigger star if you wanted to, or maybe some people just get their start in these type of movies. So that I think is really fun. But I will say throwback references were cool, no spoilers. Clever agree was definitely interesting, and agree that unknown access made it. Yeah, it did. Just because it's like you kind of. I think in those type of things when you have somebody in like a horror role or something like that, you kind of have an expectation of, oh well, this guy's got to this guy has to definitely have more screen time, or this person has to definitely do like this and that. Whereas with the unknowns, it's like you can be natural. Like you can just watch it and have it be what it is. You don't have to worry about, oh, Bradley Cooper's in this movie, so he's definitely gonna survive. Like because it's like that certain people have just they're gonna have that plot armor all the way through because they're the star of the movie. They're the ones who sold it. Versus a bunch of unknowns. It's like, oh well, everybody's expendable. You don't know who's going next.
Well, also saw his comment about that's why I would actually love to see other stories, different stuff, because
Yeah,
you can the only thing you can actually keep it as the corporate, because the Wayland Industries that can be like the center of all of these movies, because
yeah,
they are the ones that are kind of behind a lot of stuff with the greed, and maybe Alien Earth, since that's literally going to be because of the year, that's going to be a
hmm
starting point. Maybe
yeah,
they kind of get into explaining their greed and stuff like that, and maybe advances in human this and how it all ends up playing out. Maybe they explain more. Hopefully it does, because I would,
yeah.
I like to know more about that and kind of get into it. Uh,
Yeah,
so.
and I will say like that was kind of cool. That's why like when the Alien versus Predator movie came, like the first one, I saw the second one, but I thought the first one was better. But it was cool when they were just like like this is how it is, and then you find out too like oh like the Wayland company is involved in this too. Wow, really? Okay, so like it's just like so that company definitely is what pulls everything together. Like they're the ones that are funding all these missions and stuff like that. And but yeah, it's just, that I think is just really cool. Of course, we can have alien acolytes. Yeah, no acolyte. I haven't even seen one episode of that show. But I
The
heard
people.
it's good.
I'm gonna say something that's not a popular opinion, I guess, about the show, but this is from me not being a Star Wars enthusiast and not knowing everything about Star Wars and how things should go with characters. I've actually watched the first two episodes and enjoyed it.
That's what
so, so,
people said the first. I think people said like the first episode or two wasn't bad, and then it just goes right off a cliff. Like,
but then they say the last two episodes are good. So you got like, I think it's 6 or 8 episodes. So it's like half of the
oh,
seasons are good. Because like
it
the
depends who
last
you
thing,
talk to.
yeah, I've heard at least the last episode I've heard is not bad, but I don't know.
No,
I like it so far. I'm gonna continue to
yeah,
watch it. But
it
like I
wasn't
said,
enough to save it, unfortunately.
but I'll
They
say this: people have crapped on it so bad that my expectations are so low that I'm actually enjoying it. So
yeah, that can do it too. Like if everybody's giving you such a if everyone's saying like no this is awful, like okay well let's see what it is, and it's like you know what that was actually kind of fun. I didn't hate it. It's just like
yeah,
you didn't hate it. Like no I didn't. I didn't hate it at all. But like I haven't seen it, so and for me I am a big Star Wars person, so it's just like there's certain things that will get me to be like oh fuck this is stupid. But I just think that uh, every fandom has their people that like will love everything, hate everything, kind of scrutinize, and they all scrutinize in between, so it's crazy. Like I know I haven't really watched any of House of Dragons, which I heard is great, and the reason why I haven't watched it is because of the the way the last show ended, and I know that this is different people running it and everything, but it's just like for me that last like season
yes,
and a half of Game of Thrones really just made me be like, you know what? Like, I don't want to invest more into this franchise because of how they kind of, threw it to the side. I almost would rather go back and read the books. And, if that last one ever come out, I would rather go back and read that and be like, okay, I want to see what his actual original vision was, all these different characters, understand everything, and then, kind of go from there. And then I can make my, decision as to which one I want to be like, all right, this is the canon, and this is just the fever dream, I guess.
that a spinoffs to answer alien spinoffs could work very well because
Yeah,
all you have to do is keep two core things in alien spinoff. You can't have an alien spinoff without the aliens. And to me, I've been watching all the other stuff about the aliens. Wayland Industries. So you got to
yeah,
have the aliens, and you got to have Wayland Industries somewhere in there because
yep,
they're connected. They always overlap. Where alien is somewhere involved in something that aliens come through. So
You know
that's
what?
how you.
I think that even though they plug Darth Vader, that part of things, that they'll have him in a different project because people actually want to see him because of just that one sentence, the little story that Palpatine says in the Revenge of the Sith is enough to make people be like, I would definitely like to see more about this Darth Plagueis the Wise. How did you resurrect people? What's going on with him? Let's check it. So he'll be in other things, even though like this project that was, I guess, supposed to have him at some point flopped. Like, he'll be in something else. Like they'll bring him out. Actually, I will say, I was looking forward to watching the Umbrella Academy final season. I did see episode 1. I've put it on and watched it, but I've fallen just I've been super tired since Terrificon.
Mhm. I literally just watched the first episode, like before the show.
Yeah, like I actually like I was pleasantly surprised by that show, like how well it was done in the first seasons of it. So I'm actually really looking forward to just having a big chunk of time to go ahead and watch that final season, just because I think that's gonna be
I ain't gonna lie, it's been so hard for me to finish stuff because the stuff drops so fast. And it's almost like you gotta binge watch it. You gotta take a day off and watch stuff just so you don't get behind. It's like the only thing I've literally watched because Sicko said Batman Alien, but I watched the new Batman. I think it's
I
Cape
haven't watched all
Crusader.
that yet.
I watched all of that. I actually finished that. And I kind of watched it because somebody was hating on a few episodes. And I think they called it woke and all kind of stuff. And I was like, so I was watching, trying to see what they were talking about, and I couldn't find what they were talking about. And I was like,
I think a lot of people's anger came from the Penguin being gender swapped because the Penguin's a woman. So
and at first I thought it was a male. I'm not even gonna lie, like when it starts off, I thought it was a male character. So it's kind of it was weird, weird when the woman showed up because I was like, I thought I just saw a male. So maybe it was that episode. I mean,
that I think is the one that people took offense at. But
the rest, I could see if you're a true enthusiast. Yeah, I can understand. But overall, I watched the whole thing. I actually liked it, and it leads up to season 2.
Yeah.
So
I think what happened the fact that they switched, the gender was one thing, but the thing that I think made people upset was Bruce Timm, who was working on the show and everything like that. Like his reasoning for doing it was like, well, Batman, doesn't have that many good villains, and so we just want to do something. We wanted to give him some good villains to go with him. It's like, wait a minute. I mean, that's a really bad excuse. Where it's like, when
that wasn't a good excuse.
And so that's what they came out and said, and it's just like, well, but that makes no sense.
His excuse would have worked better.
Yeah, I mean that's always the thing is that like when you go ahead and you compare who has the better like the better rogues gallery, it's just like like his is easily top 3 every time. It's just like usually it's between him and Spider-Man who has the best.
Yeah, it's really between him and Spider-Man.
So to say that is crazy because it's like you're talking about basically.
No. If you want Spider-Man to win, whose rogues gallery is better? All you got to do is the first 20 issues of Spider-Man versus the first 20 issues of Batman, which is Detective Comics 27. Yes, Spider-Man has the best rogue gallery because Detective Comics, the first 20 issues, he might have had a couple of people. But it weren't the ones we know. Even if you started Batman 1 all the way to Batman 20, Batman 1 has Joker and Catwoman, but after that it's like who, so it's so Spider-Man kills them in different ways, but if you gotta pick, Batman, his how good, Spider-Man, you could just say, all right, 1 through whatever,
Yeah, I mean, you can slice and dice it up however you want because most people don't go like, oh, chronologically but when you come to just that in itself, like that being the excuse for like, well, this is why we did it, and it's just like, I mean, they could have come up with a better reasoning for it, which I understand, and so I think that's why people give him such a hard time, because it's like you changed it, and then your reason for doing it was nonsense.
Yeah, to me, I would have been okay with the excuse of saying this because this part is going to hurt people because it's. I mean, the core elements of this character is it does the character have to be male? The core elements.
Hmm.
And basically, no, you can answer is no. The core elements, it doesn't have to be male. That would have been my answer if I was Bruce Timm saying that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
people like me, I've been like, oh, okay, well, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I kind of
yeah.
saying,
Like
that's
I
like
don't, I don't
that's
have a, you know,
that's like Black
done
Panther.
is done.
Black
You
Panther's
know,
core elements, he's black. He's black.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
African.
and what I say is that, like, I mean, like, I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, because it was done. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. And it's one episode in the show that focuses on that character. So it's just like, okay. I mean, like, I saw that one, and I saw the
Now,
second
see,
one
it
with
would have been better. That character, those characters. This how it could have been. People probably would have been okay with it.
It was like pre-code horror the way they did that one. That was actually a really fun episode.
Well, the penguin one could have been okay with the penguin one. Is if they would have had who ends up being the real penguin, somebody that looks like him, like who we know who Penguin is. That I think people would have been okay with that. Like, cause she had two sons, and we'd have looked
Yeah.
at one of them, and be like, oh, that's who's going to be the Penguin in season 2.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it looks like a lot of the core characters are not done. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be back for season 2. Catwoman's going to be back. Who else we got? I don't know about Penguin. Like I also said, Penguin could have did it that way to have that character back. Yeah. So it's like some of those core main Batman characters are going to be back for season 2, but yeah, they could have did it a little. They could have just did it a little different. You could have still had Penguin originally, in the storyline, a woman, but do different things to extend it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's all right. Like I'll finish watching that at some point, but I was definitely looking forward to to Umbrella Academy. Trying to get that, and it's just like for me, there's not like a ton of stuff that I'm watching all at once. So like I just was thinking, like, for me, like I probably would have been able to watch the whole show like by just watching an episode a night. But like I said, like I've been like for me, I had a very long weekend with Terrificon, and then basically work this week. It's been just a bunch of early days going in every day. So that's the only thing that kind of made it so I was. But what's going on, Cliff?
Cliff? Yo, Chris.
Yeah. What's funny? Cliff made his way. Like Cliff really made his way into a lot of photos and everything like that. Like people were definitely there and having a good time, and Cliff was at the center of it all. So Cliff had a great time at Terrificon. It was amazing meeting him. He's such a fun guy to be around. So definitely hope to run into him at other conventions and stuff, because he was just a fun guy to be with.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe we'll talk about Umbrella Academy as well when we both finish that, since we both kind of started at the same point too. So that'll be something fun to talk about, because I actually like the Umbrella Academy. The third season, was probably the worst one out of all.
First season was awesome. I liked it a lot. Like I really did. Actually, what did it for me was that they had a really good mix with the all the music and stuff that they did. It was very well done as far as the music for it and just kind of keeping everything together. But
I like the first season the best one.
I never read the books or anything, so I didn't know what to expect. And after I watched, I was like, "This is actually really like a fun show." So if the comics are vastly different from the show, I don't think it would ruin anything for me. But I can watch this and say I had a really good time watching it. So that's why I'm excited to watch the rest of it to see how it actually ends. For the television show, I would say kind of it's the one thing it didn't do for me is make me want to go back, just because I like how well the show is done. It doesn't make me want to read the books, whereas Invincible did make me do that. Invincible, I was like, I want to read more of this. Like I want to see what where this is all going. So, and I started reading, as much as I could about Invincible. So Invincible is very fun. Invincible, I actually regret not collecting when it came out, so I could have that whole run and like kind of look back on it. But I will get those compendiums soon enough so I can have them, and then pick up different issues and stuff, just because that was fun. I was actually really happy with that. I would say like me not wanting to read the books isn't a knock on it, because it's the same thing with the boys. Like the boys, I enjoy the show, but really I don't have too much desire to actually go ahead and read the actual comics. I could do that. Like, I could look for an omnibus and just kind of read it all, or just see it. But I feel like the show does such a good job, telling the story, that like there's really no reason to go back and see the read the comic, because I know that the comic will be a little bit different. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just something that I like. For me, I look at it where it's just like, this is good enough for me. Like I'm willing to go ahead and enjoy the show without having to see the books. So that's just my thoughts.
Uh, I want to. We're getting close to the 1 hour 30 minute mark, so I don't want to say call it. I got some things to do, but I want to tell you guys, check out the hunt on Friday. Tony
Yes.
Sanders' hunt. So definitely check that out this Friday. Saturday we have Band of Brothers auction. Yeah, myself, Bleak. I don't know if Chris is available, but Bleak, K-Pop's be hosting. You got Papa Willie, Cali Comics, uh, Biggie Shack, I believe. So
Yep.
I'll also be there. Our once a month auction. So definitely come support that. I know we've been posting up some previews of books. Callie posted some, Bleeker posted, and I posted some. I didn't post everything. Yeah.
All
So
kinds of stuff for everybody that is looking out there. So what I would say is the best thing about that show is, there you go, is being able to go on and pretty much whatever your taste is, you'll find something there. And it's not always it doesn't always have to be real expensive books. You can like if you're just looking to pick up some run fillers, you may be able to find some stuff. If you're just looking to buy some dollar books, I'm sure there'll be stuff there that the bundles of dollar books and stuff. And then there's also going to be some big keys if you're looking to get some keys. So, definitely a great show to watch. There's deals to be had, so watch the show.
Yeah, affordable books for a lot of different budgets, price points. So definitely come check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's more of a hangout, not just a auction.
That's right.
So definitely come check it out. See some deals. I think I'm gonna do a top spender award for myself. So just I'm trying to make sure I'm able to do that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun the next couple of days. I hope to see you guys there. But recommendation: go see Alien, Romulus. It was good. It's good to see some unknown actors and actresses kind of do their thing, and you get a different storyline that was actually decent. It was actually really decent.
It was a good story. Like I enjoyed it.
So that's why I kind of say hopefully we get more of this. You could say spin-offs if you want to say that, but it's it's a spin-offs in the same time frame storyline or however you want to call it. You got anything else, Chris?
Not right now. I will definitely have to do a haul video of stuff I picked up at Terrificon and the Wicked Comic Con show, and just kind of talk about that stuff and show off the stuff I got, and so I will be putting that together soon. I just had such a busy week, I haven't had a chance to do it. But I would also say too, make sure that you check out just everybody who is putting up content about Terrificon, just to see what they all got, because some just amazing stuff. And just like he said, watch check us out on the hunt tomorrow, in the Band of Brothers auction. And other than that, everybody have a good night.
Have a good night. Have a good night. The chat splash. Sorry there.
It's in there.
I can't stay on for long, but I put it in there.
Yep.
Also, check out my CG unboxings. That's it, and that's all. So see you guys. Oh, also, Mr. Wack Comics. Check out Wack Comics. The look at you for the week.
Yes.
And ends this. I think got 2 more days. So Wack Comics. I've been having it posted up there. Highlighting other channels. So, but yep, that's it, man. I'll leave a
let's
little
help them grow.
Whatever. What?
I said let's help them grow. Like, how about the look at you? Go check out their stuff. Give them a subscribe. Give them some thumbs up on their videos. Everybody have a great night.
Yep. So you guys be good. Have a good evening.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem. Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Right. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. Right. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners.
You son of a bitch.
We happy?